And like, so take me back to 2004 because I think it was your daughter had given you a copy of a book called The Science of Getting Rich. And did that
Yeah.
plant a seed, or was that one of the many things that kind of got you to develop this concept of The Secret?
That book was more than a seed. That book was like lit a fire in me. It took me about, I read at a really tough time in my life. I was in despair. It took me 45 minutes to read it, and my whole life changed in that 45 minutes. I just knew so much from reading that book. And now when I go back and read it, I like the things that I knew after reading the book aren't really in the book. I seemed to open a door to understand a lot more. I knew life was not at all the way that we thought it is, and that we did have an incredible ability to create our life. And so Wallace Wattles and that book, and we have that book for free on our website. It's 1910, I think, that book. That book was the beginning. And so what I did was I read every single book of Wallace Wattles, and I looked for Wallace Wattles' mentor. And when I found his mentor, I then read every book of that mentor, looked for that person's mentor, and that's how I went back in history.
Wow. Must have felt
And I
like,
went actually right back to the Emerald Tablets.
to what, to which
The
tablets?
Emerald Tablet. The
Really?
Emerald Tablet. Yeah.
I don't know that. What is that?
Yeah. The Emerald Tablet was a tablet. Now I can remember the Egyptian name. The Emerald Tablet was a stone that was engraved. Wisdom and knowledge was engraved on it, and it was kind of hidden, it buried in the sand and in Egypt, and it's supposed to be about 5,000 BC, something like that. And so on the Emerald Tablet, it has, for example, as above, so below, and as within, so without. As within, so without. 5,000 BC. So amazing, right?
Do Rana, do you ever wonder, like, why there wasn't a version of The Secret out there, and why it took a woman in Australia who was 2 million in debt with her television production company to find this thing and create it? I mean, do you ever think why that is? Because when I grew up in school, I was taught pretty much the opposite of everything in The Secret. You had
Yeah.
to work hard to get something. You had to, step on toes to get ahead. I lived the American dream, and that wasn't The Secret. Do you ever think? You ever wonder why that idea was either pushed out or never embraced?
I do. I've thought about it a lot, and how was it that I got to do this? Because there were, like, going back through history, that the wisdom and the knowledge was there in spiritual traditions, in religions. It was there.
Yeah.
I think in the Holy Scriptures is, now I have to remember to say it correctly. He who asks and believeth will receive. Right? I mean, there's the creative process of The Secret. Ask, believe, receive.
Right.
And so it was there in all the spiritual traditions and religions, going all back right through time, and from all different people. But somehow or another, it just hadn't reached the masses of people. And the one thing for me, that when I discovered it, I wanted this for the world. I wanted this for everybody. And I had not been on a spiritual journey prior to this, but I knew that spiritually, anybody on a spiritual journey was well and truly taken care of by all the wonderful teachers out there. But I wanted our work to touch everybody who wasn't spiritual. I wanted it to reach all the people that are hurting or suffering. And so that was our intention. Our intention was that The Secret was for everybody.